Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Chana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brachachanaranjana Yashodanandana Brachachanaranjana Yashodanandana Brachachanaranjana Yashodanandana Naranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Radha Madhava ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. Okay, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 25, text 119. Let's see, maybe read one more. Let's see. Okay, so this is actually a part of the Chatushloki from the Bhagavatam, 2934. Ritere tam yat pratyeta. Ritere tam yat pratyeta. Na prityeta chatmani. Na prityeta chatmani. Tat vidyad atmano mayam. Tat vidyad atmano mayam. Yata bhasho yata tamaha. Yata baso yata tamaha. Ritere tam yat pratiyeta. Na pratiyeta chatmani. Tat vidyad atmano mayam. Yata bhaso yata tamaha. Vaishnavis. Rite, without, artam, value, yat, that which, pratyeta, appears to be, na, not, pratyeta, appears to be, cha, certainly, atmani, in relation to me, tat, that, vidyat, you must know, atmana, mayam, illusory energy, yata, just as, abasa, the reflection, yata, just as, tamaham, the darkness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: what appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy. For nothing can exist without me. It is like a reflection of a real light in a shadow. For in the light there are neither shadows nor reflections. Purport: this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.34. It is the second verse of the Chatushloki. For an explanation of this verse, see Adilila chapter 1, text 54. Do we have an Adilila chapter 1? We'll read. 54. And then maybe you can also give me a Bhagavatam second canto. So purport. In the previous verse, the absolute truth and its nature have been explained. One must also understand the relative truth to actually know the absolute. The relative truth, which is called Maya, or material nature, is explained here. Maya has no independence, existence. One who is less intelligent is captivated by the wonderful activities of Maya, but he does not understand that behind these activities is the direction of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.10 it says, Mayatya kshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. The material nature is working and producing moving and non-moving beings only by the supervision of Krishna. The real nature of Maya, the illusory existence of the material manifestation, is clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth is substance, and the relative truth depends upon its relationship with the absolute for its existence. Maya means energy. Therefore, the relative truth is explained to be the energy of the absolute truth. Since it is difficult to understand the distinction between the absolute and relative truths, an analogy can be given for clarification. The absolute truth can be compared to the sun, which is appreciated in terms of two relative truths, reflection and darkness. Darkness is the absence of sunshine, and a reflection is a projection of sunlight into darkness. Neither darkness nor reflection has an independent existence. Darkness comes when the sunshine is blocked. For example, if one stands facing the sun, his back will be in darkness. Since darkness stands in the absence of the sun, it is therefore relative to the sun. The spiritual world is compared to the real sunshine, and the material world is compared to the dark region where the sun is not visible. When a material manifestation appears very wonderful, this is due to the perverted reflection of the supreme sunshine. The absolute truth is as confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra. Whatever one can see here has its substance in the absolute. As darkness is situated far away from the sun, so the material world is also far away from the spiritual world. The Vedic literature directs us not to be captivated by the dark regions, tama, but try to reach the shining region of the absolute, yogi dham. Yogidam. The spiritual world is brightly illuminated, but the material world is wrapped in darkness. In the material world, sunshine, moonshine, or different kinds of artificial light are required to dispel darkness, especially at night. For by nature the material world is dark. Therefore the Supreme Lord has arranged for sunshine and moonshine. But his abode is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15.6. There is no necessity for lightning by sunshine, moonshine, or electricity, because everything is self-effulgent. That which is relative, temporary, and far away from the absolute truth is called Maya, or ignorance. This illusion is exhibited in two ways, as explained in the Bhagavad Gita. The inferior illusion is inert matter, and the superior illusion is the living entity. The living entity are called illusory in this context only because they are implicated in the illusory structure and activities of the material world. Actual living entities are not illusory, for they are parts of the superior energy, the Supreme Lord, do not have to be covered by Maya if they do not want to be so. The action of living entities in the spiritual kingdom are not illusory. They are the actual eternal activities of the liberated soul. Okay, Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Kiranjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Bistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So, read the text again. One should know no, this is. Here we go. What appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy, for nothing can exist without me. It is like a reflection of the real light in a shadow, for in the light there are neither shadows nor reflections. So here a very essential truth is explained, that basically shadow cannot exist independent of light. Now that's the analogy. If we have shadow, shadow is basically shadow is only there if something is blocking light, and if something blocks the light, then shadow is manifested. But if there's nothing blocking, there is no shadow. So shadow in itself does not have an independent existence. It depends on light. So similarly, basically everything depends on Krishna. Especially like when we look here at the material world, the whole material existence, whatever we see, is dependent on Krishna. It is not independent. The whole material world, the whole creation, is not existing independent. It is only existing because there is something else. There is the absolute world. We know in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, that is also explained, the material world is compared to a banyan tree, right? But not an ordinary tree, but a tree that is upside down. Usually we have the roots are down and then you have the branches on the top. But in the material world it's the other way around. You have the roots on the top and the branches are down. And Srila Prabhupada would say, imagine someone holds you at the feet and your head is down. How long can you stay in that position? It's not very comfortable. If someone holds your feet and you're kind of hanging there with the head down, all the blood goes into the head. It's very uncomfortable. How long can you be there comfortable? A very unnatural position. So the whole material world is like that. The whole material world. And the important thing, it's just a reflection. Because where do we see an upside down tree? In the reflection of water. If you have a tree standing close to a lake, and then within the lake you see the reflection. The original tree stands there, but then in the water you just see a reflection. So the tree is the original thing, and what we see on the water is just a reflection. So similarly, the spiritual world is the actual truth, it's the absolute truth, and that what we perceive in the material world is the relative world, it's a reflection. And it's interesting, the word absolute truth. Nowadays when we say absolute, then people think, what do you mean absolute truth? Absolute sounds like very... but what actually absolute means, that which includes everything. Everything is... it's complete. It's full, it's complete. Whereas the relative, it's just... it's a part, it's not complete. And the relative depends on the absolute. And the relative can always change, it can be different. Depends on the situation. So here it says that what appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy. For nothing can exist without me. It is like a reflection of a real light in a shadow. For the light there are neither shadow nor reflections. So what appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy. In other words, if we see anything, it appears truth without Krishna. That means if we see anything in this world and we don't see the connection to Krishna, then that's Maya. But when we see the connection with Krishna, there's no Maya. Because we see the connection with Krishna. Sometimes we admire the beauty of nature. We go somewhere, Swiss mountains, for example. Wow. But if you just enjoy the nature, then it becomes a sense gratification. But if you see the connection with Krishna, you understand actually this is the greatness of God and this is a manifestation of God. Then you see the truth. Or another example, if you see the opposite sex, usually we are attracted to the opposite sex. If you see it without connection to Krishna, then you just think of your own enjoyment. But if you see the connection with Krishna, then you see the truth. You see Krishna Dasi. She's also a servant of Krishna. I'm a servant of Krishna, she's a servant of Krishna. Like there was a story, Gorkishore Das Babaji had a follower. His name was, I think, Shambhu Baba. And so he came to have darshan, Jagannath Das Babaji. And then someone said, "Oh, Babaji, Shambhu, he got married. He has a wife now." And then Gorkishore Das Babaji immediately said, "Okay, very good, you have a wife, but don't see your wife as an object of sense gratification. Your wife is Dasi. She's a servant of Krishna, and you should offer obeisances, and you take her remnants." So that's the vision of a Vaishnava. The Vaishnava, he sees everything connected to Krishna. There is nothing that he is not seeing connected with Krishna. Everything is connected. And because he always sees everything connected with Krishna, he always sees truth, and he's not in illusion, he's not in Maya. Because as it says, what appears to be truth without me, that's certainly illusion. So the antidote to this is to see everything in connection. And therefore for a devotee, and that's also how can we develop such a vision to see everything connected with Krishna? And that's the duty of the spiritual master. When when we take shelter of a guru, then the teacher, he trains us to see things from a different perspective. Because on our own, we have this, how I call it, bhogya darshan. We see everything as bhoga. Whatever bhoga means, no, it's not offered. it's meant for enjoyment. So whatever we see, we think it's meant for me. That's usually how we walk through the world. We look around, our eyes see some beautiful objects, our ears, they hear some nice sound, our tongue wants to taste something, nectar, our hands want to touch something soft. And whatever we perceive through our senses, we always think this is meant for me, for my enjoyment. Because I'm the center of the universe, isn't it? But that's how we walk through life, how we feel. Life is like a movie, and I'm like the director, and I'm also the star of the movie. I'm the central point. And others, they're all like, they play extra roles and statisten. They're also standing around there. They're also there, but I play the main role, right? I'm the main actor. So I'm the center of the universe, and therefore whatever happens is meant for me. So I'm supposed to control everything according to my desire. Everything should go the way I want, because I'm the director of my own movie, and that's how it should go. And everything should fall into my lap for my enjoyment. So but the problem is, if all the living entities in the universe have that same attitude, we got a problem. Because if everyone sees himself as the center, then there is a competition, right? And the other problem is, already someone is there in the center. Who is that? Krishna. That's the definition of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why Krishna says, Bhuktaram yagatapasyam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhuktanam ketvanam shantim richati. That Krishna says this is, Prabhupada used to call it the peace formula. What is the peace formula? You understand that Krishna is the Bhuktaram, he's the supreme enjoyer, and he's the Maheshwaram, he's the supreme controller, and yes, he's also our best friend. But first of all, we have to understand he's the enjoyer and he's the controller. He is the enjoyer and the controller, and not me. So that's an important point. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Jai. So, because that's Maya. That's the whole concept of Maya. If I put myself in the position of God and want to enjoy and control, then we have that situation. And that's why the peace formula, how to become peaceful, by understanding that I'm not the controller, I'm not the enjoyer, but actually Krishna, and I am meant to serve him. And then I become peaceful, because I don't have to run for enjoyment or control myself. Yes. So therefore, a devotee, a Vaishnava, and that's by the mercy of a spiritual master, by reading the scriptures, one understands that instead of seeing everything as bhogya darshan, as an enjoyment, one develops this sevya darshan, or a vision by which everything is seen as service. Then if I see something beautiful, then if I see a flower, I can just pick it and pluck it and smell it. Oh, it smells nice. Or I can, nurture it, give it water, and protect it. And then maybe eventually I take it and I offer it to the Lord, and then I may also take the remnants. So there's a difference. The way I see the world has changed by developing this service spirit. And therefore, as a Vaishnava also, there is actually no question of bhoga and tyaga. we have these two principles. In this world, either people want to enjoy or they want to renounce. Mostly they want to enjoy, about 99%. And maybe 1% want to renounce. No. Most people, they, as we just described, they just think that life means to gratify my senses and to find pleasure through my body, and that's it. And then a few people realize that this is not the way, it's not really how I get happiness, and then they want to renounce, they want to give up everything. And often we think that spiritual life means renunciation. And that will actually will be the topic of this afternoon's class. The topic will be attachment to Krishna and detachment to Maya. Or in other words, bhakti does not mean detachment, but bhakti means attachment. That's the whole process. It's not. We don't give so much focus on becoming detached from the world, but our focus is to become attached to Krishna. And that's why bhoga and tyaga is not really an issue for a devotee, because there is nothing to enjoy and there is nothing to give up. Because if I know that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and the supreme controller, what should I give up? Like, we are here at the Bergstrasse in Zurich. I give often the example, the neighbors, they're one of the, from this business on the other side, they have a nice Ferrari, like an orange Ferrari. So I could say, no, I have renounced that sports car. I have renounced it. I'm not attached to it. Is there any meaning in that statement? No, because it was never mine, right? I never had a Ferrari. The only car I had was a VW bus, an old military VW bus. That was my first car. It broke down after a couple of months driving it because it was like 50 years old or something. So I never had a Ferrari. So that's why, what is the point of saying I'm detached of that Ferrari? It was never mine. So if I understand that nothing belongs to me in this world, why I become so proud of my detachment? I'm renounced. I have given up everything. I'm a brahmachari. Don't you know? For many years I'm a brahmachari. Completely renounced. Well, what's the point? You have never really owned anything. Nothing belongs to you. Everything is meant for Krishna anyway. So what is the glory of your renunciation? And the same with the enjoyment. So that's why for a Vaishnava, tyaga is not really a big issue, because we understand everything belongs to Krishna. And then also regarding bhoga, enjoyment, what's the point of enjoying anything? If I know that Krishna is meant to be the enjoyer, then I try to help Krishna to enjoy and just become a servant and try to facilitate Krishna's enjoyment. And that's my true position. So in this way, that's the understanding of Vaishnava. And in this way, he develops a vision which is actually very much the reality. He starts to see the things as they are. Because as we are reading this text, what happens, what appears to be truth without me, is certainly my illusory energy. If I see things without connection to Krishna, then it's Maya. But if I see things with connection with Krishna, then it's not Maya. That's also, there is some misconception that illusion means that this whole world actually is illusion. Like in Matrix, right? You have seen Matrix? You have not seen the Matrix? Oh my God! This was like in my personal life. This was like a milestone in my spiritual development to watch this movie. I was after I walked out of the movie for like 3 hours. I didn't speak a single word. I was there with like 15 of my friends, and we walked out. Everyone was like talking, and so I was just like, how is it possible? Someone, because this is what I kind of was experiencing, or like in my spiritual search. I was kind of going through all of these things, and then all of a sudden I see it on the screen. Yes, I knew it. It's real, And maybe I'm the one, who knows? So, point is that sometimes, I remember when I was very new to Krishna consciousness, some brahmachari, not a brahmachari, but some devotee explained to me, everything is illusion. Everything is illusion. And I was like, wow, everything is illusion. This is amazing, everything is illusion. But then only later I learned, actually this is not true. This is not our philosophy, everything is illusion. Our philosophy is that everything is temporary. And it's a reflection. It's not independent. Because this world, this is Krishna's energy, and if it's Krishna's energy, how can it be illusion? It is not. It is real. This world is real, but it's our vision that is illusion. And in Prabhupada gives the example of someone walks through the forest and then he sees a snake and hanging from the tree. And, oh my God, a snake! And but then when he turns on a light, he sees actually it's not a snake, it's just a rope. There was a rope hanging from the tree, and he thought it's a snake and became afraid. So what is illusion? The rope is actually real. There is a rope, but the misidentification or my vision to take that rope as a snake, that was illusion. So this world is real. And I'm also, this body is also real, but my identification with the body is the illusion. If I think that's me, then that's an illusion, and that I think that's me. I'm this body. I'm a man, and if I'm a man, I need a woman. If I'm a woman, I need a man. So that's why, if you want to stay brahmachari, you kind of should realize your spiritual soul. Then you don't need. So that's always the problem is the identification, and so that's our understanding of what actually Maya is, that what is not, and it's not the thing itself, but it's the vision that we have, which is an illusion or a misconception. But yeah, if we learn to change our vision, as we said before, by the mercy of the spiritual master and by reading scriptures, then we develop a proper way to see the things, and then we become Krishna conscious. We become conscious of Krishna, and we see the world with the proper perspective. And then the curtain of Maya will open, and we see the Lord in front of us. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Shishi Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So this is what I can say on a spontaneous level. I didn't prepare, so maybe we just keep it with that. And let's see whether there are any questions or comments. Yes. Hare Krishna.
So I understand the point that we should connect everything with Krishna, what we see. Sometimes it's difficult for me when I see something which is, like for example, breaking the regulative principles, seeing people engage in sinful activities. How to think and how to connect that with Krishna to not be influenced by that.
Mm-hmm. Like Ajamila in the Bhagavatam, in the Ajamila story. One way we can try to see the. Usually, what we're talking about is to develop Shastra Chakshu, right? To learn to see the world through the eyes of scripture. And this is actually a very powerful thing to develop Shastra Chakshu. And one way when we see things in the world is that we. And that's as most of the first step or something that we can easily apply, is to see the gunas working. If you see someone, someone you see like men and women, standing somewhere and very sensually, embracing each other, and like at the train station when they separate and then it's the last time they embrace and kiss before they don't see each other for months or so. You stand there as a brahmachari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and they're like. So what to think? Well, okay. I mean, we can appreciate the love. It's human relationship. It's beautiful. But then also we may see that there is Rajaguna, the passion. We can see that there is the gunas are also working. Maybe there is some element of Rajaguna involved here. Or if we see a drunkard, sometimes you see crazy people. Like, again, at the train station, I'm traveling a lot recently, so you see people, they're they're talking to themselves, like screaming. Have you seen that? So you see Tamaguna is acting, the person completely lost himself, completely, dumb, like full of drugs and become crazy, mad. And yeah, the first step, maybe you see, Tamaguna, this is a Tamaguni. But then if you develop further, may also you feel compassion, You feel, oh my God, like this soul is really lost, Like, I mean, and that's from the spiritual perspective. Even a very nice gentleman, here in Switzerland, you go on the streets, you distribute books. You often meet nice people, like Sattvic people. Look, they are successful in their business, they have a nice relationship, they have children, and successful life. But actually, as a Vaishnava, nevertheless, we feel compassionate if they don't have any understanding of God, if they don't have any understanding of a deeper meaning of life. We feel compassion for them because they don't really understand. They didn't got it. No, they are actually in illusion. They don't see the connection with Krishna. So even if someone is doing well, from the Vaishnava perspective, we feel compassion. What to speak of a person who completely lost himself in Tamaguna? He's even more in illusion. I mean, the first person is already in illusion, and that person is in illusion and then again in illusion. He's in an illusion in an illusion. So his chance to come out, it's very difficult. So as a devotee, then we feel compassion. How can we help such a person? Maybe we scream, Hare Krishna! I hope that he hears the holy name at least. We have to be careful sometimes to become angry. Like Jagai and Madai, Nityananda also felt that these two drunkards, they are most fallen. If I save them, then the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be spread even more. So we have to deliver these fallen souls. But then what happens? Of course, they run behind him, ready to kill them. And Thakur Haridas was complaining to the Sankirtan leader, I'm not going out anymore with this guy on Sankirtan. No, he's too crazy. This Nityananda is doing all kind of nonsense. So, yeah, anyhow. Shastra Chakshu is a way that we try to see these things. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You were talking about seeing Krishna in everything, and I know that the most useful thing for that is intelligence. Use our intelligence for seeing Krishna, knowing him.
Mm-hmm. Using our intelligence, yeah.
How far can you get only by intelligence? Because I believe this is like spiritual revelation needs mercy.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. One thing is intelligence, but then there is also revelation required. We also speak of jnana and vijnana, right? Jnana means just knowledge, and vijnana means realization. Someone may know that smoking is bad. Like my teacher, I give this example. My teacher had a sticker on his desk with a no smoking sticker. And then he would walk out and then smoke cigarettes in the break. So he knew that smoking is not good, but he nevertheless did it. So he only had jnana, he had only knowledge, but he didn't have vijnana, he didn't have realization. Right? So we may know many things, but then when vijnana comes in, then actually we apply. And that vijnana is not an easy thing, it requires, life experience, but then also mercy, revelation. Yes. And but it's interesting sometimes, but still knowledge is important because sometimes we may, and maybe some of you have made that experience, like in my case, again, going back to the Matrix movie, to to my beginnings of spiritual life. I had quite a drastic shift in my life because I was quite an introvert and I was kind of a dreamer. I was very, introvert, and I saw all my friends. They were like doing many things, and I was kind of just the observer. And I always was wondering, what is my, someone is a musician, someone is an artist, someone is a painter, I was thinking, what is my, what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do. Then when I came in touch with spirituality, it was like an explosion. That's it, I knew it, this is. So I become like a spiritual seeker. But then, and I had a lot of, maybe called mystical experiences or like synchronicity, that things just happened. But then I didn't have any knowledge. So I experienced all kind of crazy things, but I didn't have any knowledge. And I almost became, it is actually dangerous. That's why people taking drugs, and then drugs stimulate kind of an experience which they call spiritual, but actually, of course, it does open a window. You have some experience, you lose yourself. You lose the sense of yourself. For example, people taking drugs, then they are just feeling one with everything, and it's a real experience. I mean, you really feel like one with everything. Of course, when you come down, then you're again you're ordinary person, and there is no transformation of the heart, and there is no realization. You just had some experience. But if you don't have knowledge, then it's hard to. Then you start to think, maybe I'm God. I became one, so I'm God. Wow, amazing! I'm God. So that's why knowledge has value. It's very important. When we study Shastra, then we gain knowledge, and then when we have experience, we can understand, this is this is that, because we got some basic knowledge. You see, so it requires both. It requires knowledge, and then it requires some actual spiritual experience and some mercy to get realization and transformation. So it requires both. And that's why when I came in touch with Prabhupada's books, I was so grateful, because wow, finally we got real transcendental knowledge. Here everything is explained. Because there is Atma, Paramatma, there's a difference. This is an important point. If you make some far out experience and you read some Mayavad books, everything is one, you are God, we are all God. And then you walk around, I'm God, don't you know? And you're all in illusion. I'm just like. So then, when I read Prabhupada's books, it was quite sobering. Oh, okay, I'm not God. So, like that. Okay, we still have. That's the advantage of ending early with the class. We have some time. Yes.
Thank you very much for this lecture. I especially like the very clear statement that without light, shadow cannot exist. And it's so obvious.
It's obvious, no?
Strong realization, and I'm very grateful for that. But I have a question also, that we hear, of course, we shouldn't renounce because nothing is ours and so on, but then actually also in the beginning, we should become a brahmachari, like to renounce at least, to be able to deal with the matter in a good way. And what do you think, is it necessary to go through this phase of strict renouncement, or is it also applicable to just be in your material life and then slowly transition?
Yes, about renunciation. I think it's a bit an individual situation also, that for some individual, they do need a clear cut at some point. It really helps. Like I just went to India for a whole year. Sometimes people have difficulties to join the Hare Krishna movement because you still see your friends and they're smoking, or you still hear there is a party, and then you're kind of in between two worlds. So I just went to India, and then I was a whole year, I was just cut off from everything. Then when I came back, I was kind of Haribol. I got initiated, shaved up, brahmachari, came back like completely transformed. So that was helpful. For me it was helpful. So sometimes we require a full cut, just renounce everything, just give up everything and walk away from your previous life. But some, they're just getting to know about Krishna, and then gradually they put a little more Krishna into their life, and then slowly other things will move away. I mean, nowadays not so many people actually join the ashrams and do such a clear cut. Most of the community members, they kind of just integrate a little bit and then slowly. But there is certainly an advantage to make a cut. It's helpful. But I would say it's... And it's interesting, we will talk about this, as I said, in the afternoon. Rupa Goswami describes that detachment is especially important at the beginning. That's mentioned by Rupa Goswami. Because in order to take up to bhakti, you do have to renounce some things, like four regulated principles, which for many is already a big step. Give up meat eating, give up drugs, give up, illicit sex. It's kind of challenging. But in order to seriously practice bhakti, that's what is required. So there we see, obviously, there is clear cut and renunciation is needed. But then, for the whole path of bhakti, if you kind of just focus on the renunciation all the time, that's because renunciation in itself is not one of the 64 limbs of bhakti. Rupa Goswami describes what is bhakti, and he gives many aspects, watering tulsi, singing in front of the deities, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy name, worshipping the deities. That's bhakti. But the renunciation is not mentioned. It doesn't say give up your wife, live a celibate life, give up this, give up that. That's not part of the description. That's not it's not bhakti yoga. It's something that we do, which helps bhakti yoga. But it's not bhakti yoga in itself.
I think it brings you to the platform of self-recognition.
Right. Prabhupada would say it brings you to the platform of being a human being. Otherwise, you're in good company with the animals. No? Like, if there is no, there is like, according to Vedic perspective, it sounds quite radical, but according to Vedic perspective, you have civilized human life and you have uncivilized. And civilized means you follow some Veda, some Dharma. And uncivilized means you don't follow anything. But then, strictly speaking, you're in the same category as the animals, because animals don't have religion, they don't have culture. And if you are a human and you don't have religion and culture, then what is the difference?
And also I have one other question. You were mentioning the importance of Vijnana, and I was reflecting, like when I was coming out of high school, like after 1 month or so, I was like, such a useless thing. I don't remember almost I forgot about almost everything. And I got the realization I just learned how to learn. How to put stuff in my head.
Yeah. It's helpful, you can use it for Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, but how to really approach this, like if you become a teacher, then also to really try to bring it to the people in a way that it is not just learning something, but
Yeah, a good teacher always emphasizes application. There's different ways to do that, but you try to emphasize trying to really absorb what you have heard, to reflect. You can also pray that we, when we study something, we can pray that we may able to apply what we read. There's different ways. You had a question? Or that would be the last. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, good. So then I think we will end here. I don't want to go over that. Thank you very much. Grantarat Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Hare Krishna.